What's up, Richard? How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. A lot going on, a lot of exciting things, and a lot of exciting things to talk about.
I know the aftermath of an election. Can you believe it? It's finally over.
It's finally over.
Who knew?
It's more exciting than I thought it would be, actually.
So we were talking about this earlier. How do you think both sides are reacting?
Well, first I want to talk about this. I think it's awesome and hilarious at the same time, with a side of annoying. That the Republicans and Trump supporters called the liberals and the Hillary supporters snowflakes for handling Hillary's loss poorly, and harping on it and saying this shouldn't have happened, and putting a renewed conversation into the Electoral College. And basically, the liberals for 4 years were snowflakes, and they handled the loss poorly, sore losers. And then the second that Biden surpasses 270 electoral votes, the Republicans are handling this worse than I've ever seen any group of supporters handle an election loss in U.S. history, and much worse than Hillary Clinton in 2016. Because the liberals, the only thing they did that was considered a meltdown was they were, number one, upset about it. They expressed their feelings like, oh, this sucks. And number two, they said, should we really have an electoral college? Let's discuss that. That's all that happened. Now, what the Trump supporters are doing is they are basically saying that, they're basically basking in their own denial. Okay. There's a couple things they're holding on to. And, I blame Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder and their large outreach for confirming this. They've both been saying that, just because the media, calls the election, then it's not officially certified. So they're hanging on to this thing that, it's not officially certified and Biden's not officially the president-elect. But they failed to mention that for every election since, I think, 1856, the Associated Press has projected the winner, and the winner was referred to as president-elect from there on until Inauguration Day. Okay. Wow. The day that it's all certified is very insignificant to when the media calls it. So I don't know why it's suddenly a problem now in 2020 when it has not been a problem since 1856. I think they're being way bigger babies than the snowflakes were, and I think it's pathetic to watch, and it's quite frankly embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with you. Who would have thought that both sides would be exactly the same, though, at the same time? It's what I'm talking about, the conventional wisdom and the social norms, even more than the conservatives being snowflakes. And let's just put it this way. So do you think Trump has any leg to stand on? He's been losing every court case that's come up, okay? The votes aren't even close in the swing states. Everybody's trying to reference this as to the election of Al Gore. And first of all, it won't even go to the Supreme Court. I give Trump credit for the fact that he got 3 justices in the Supreme Court. Okay, he got Gorsuch, he got Amy Coney Barrett, Kavanaugh. And then Kavanaugh. Of course, I like beer. Got the 3 in there, right? It could have happened. It could have worked so good, except the fact that it's not close, though, right?
Yeah, it's not close at all. And the thing is, I think this is really making Trump look bad as far as his legacy goes, but even worse than that. I mean, this is going to be this might be one of the only things he's remembered for. He's going to have probably 3 or 4 things, the only major things he did during his presidency, and that he's going to be remembered for. He made a lot of history in this historic loss, the first one-term president to lose in about 28 years. The first president to have only one term, and the first incumbent to lose in 28 years, and also to have only one term. The trend has been 2-term presidencies for that long, and Trump broke that trend. And he one of the only 3 presidents to be impeached, and he didn't get a lot done. The biggest accomplishment is what you said, the Supreme Court justices. And
and the Trump tax cuts, of course,
and the tax cuts. And I never thought there was anything mentally wrong with Donald Trump. I thought anyone who suggested that had Trump derangement because, he built this big empire. He rose to the presidency. He has a $2 billion net worth. That's more than I've ever accomplished so far. So I definitely did not give into when people would say, oh, he's mentally ill, blah, blah, blah. But seeing the way this is playing out and how his wife and his daughter are begging him to concede, I think this is more proof than I've ever seen that he definitely has something wrong upstairs, because no normal person would do this. A normal, rational person would see how horrible it makes them look. And I think the Republican Party is in a really tough spot right now. But, I'm still baffled that they're even accepting this. He's only going to be the president for another 2 months. I think it would be better for the future of the Republican Party to, all gang up against this, this president and say, hey, okay, look, you lost. No, we're not on board with you. This is pathetic. So it just gets shut down, because this is embarrassing for the GOP and for Donald Trump and his legacy.
Well, that's a good point, Richard. That's a really good point that you made about his legacy. I mean, that is a really interesting what you just said about the two-term president thing. I didn't really even think about that. It has been 2 terms since. Oh, when was it? Jimmy Carter?
Jimmy Carter? Well, George H.W. and before that it was Jimmy Carter.
Read my lips. No new taxes. That's right.
Yeah.
So the thing about Trump is, I don't think you understand. So he is dumb. I always thought he was, but the thing about Trump is that I don't think he's crazy per se. I just think that you and I don't really approach it at the basis level that he does. You see, he got a small loan of $500 million from his dad. Okay. Then he went bankrupt 6 times, and then he was bailed out every time by his father. So he's kind of got that entitled thing. He barely passed college classes in Wharton, and everything's just been given to him all up to this point. So with that in context, I don't really think he's crazy at all. I just think he just can't really believe it, because this is the first time that something's actually being taken away, and there's nothing that his dad or his family could do about it. So this is kind of an interesting, fun thing to do. I was honestly, out of the 2 candidates, as you know, I hate Joe Biden with a passion. So I would rather it have been Donald Trump, and we just have that motivation that Trump gives us every day to get a progressive leader in the House and demolish the Democratic Party as it stands today. But, I have to say, either way, I'm having fun. I'm having fun right now. Are you having fun?
I'm having fun right now. I really am, And, the thing with what you said about Donald Trump, having something taken away from him for the first time in probably maybe his whole life or maybe a long time. I to add on to that, I think it could be also, a case of emotional immaturity. For 2 things. I saw a meme of or a GIF rather of Donald Trump playing golf, and he misses the hole, and then he starts crying on the floor like a toddler would. And I thought, you know what? I used to call people who would make those Trump deranged, and now I totally see it. I see Donald Trump laying down and crying like a toddler would. And another thing, I don't know how much relevancy or accuracy rather this has, but I saw a headline that a Manhattan DA was saying that when the Trump presidency ends, he's subject to subpoenas and asset forfeitures. So I'm not sure if that's just the media doing what the media does, or if there's any there's any validity to Donald Trump facing prosecution. I hear that a lot. I hear a lot of people saying Donald Trump prison if he doesn't get elected, he risks going to prison. But I haven't found anything really concrete on that. So it's very interesting to think about. That would be another historical first. Even Nixon didn't get indicted after he lost presidency, but his vice president.
This is yet another thing, Richard, that the liberal establishment is completely hypocritical on themselves. So first we have, and I don't know if you saw the video about Joe Biden, Van Jones breaking down on CNN, crying, talking about now we've got a man in the White House that has integrity and honesty, even though Joe Biden plagiarized speeches and had to drop out his first time. He lies constantly on a daily basis, and he's corrupt beyond all imagination. Van Jones decides that he's going to, now it's Black Lives. Black Lives? Crime bill. Black Lives, prison industrial complex. These people are not based in any kind of reality. And now what you're just saying right there, it's just like Didn't they say they were going to lock Hillary Clinton up? Did you say you were not going to prosecute your opponents, your rivals? So now, if you do prosecute Donald Trump, guess what? You guys are full of shit yet again. So if they do that, they will literally be giving the signal to everyone, especially the Republicans. Which, by the way, Republicans are one up in the Senate, and they're having special elections in Arizona. Okay, so if they, you don't think the Trumpists are going to have something to say about that? If I were the Democrats, I would not poke the bear. Okay, in fact, how about this, Democrats? How about we have some policies? What are the policies here? So, Richard, this is breaking news. I don't know if you know this, but I saw this on Facebook and on the Associated Press. Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders are being frozen out of the cabinet. Could you have guessed that? So all of this stumping, all of this progressive support that we supposedly had gathered with the Biden campaign, like literally, first in the campaign themselves, Nina Turner was frozen out. Now they're transparently freezing out Elizabeth Warren, which, by the way, she did exactly what you wanted on Super Tuesday. She dropped out right after. And Bernie Sanders. They just can't have any progressive anything in there. They've got Pete Buttigieg, who's running completely on identity politics, hoping to God that just hands him over. But Democrats, without any policies, what the fuck are you going to do for the next 4 years? What do you think they're going to do, Richard?
I think they're going to continue the status quo with no real meaningful policies. They're not going to do the $15 minimum wage, despite what Joe Biden says, And let's see, they might do something for colleges, like a little something, and they're going to maybe...
What are they going to do? Stop the interest rates, the insane interest that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac tack on there?
I think they're going to maybe buff up some social programs and make it look like they're doing something good. But I think mainly what they're going to do is they're going to keep Americans divided on the social issues so that we don't band up together and unite like the working class really should do. They're going to keep everyone divided, and just as they've been doing for a very long time right now. Some Southern strategy over here and some victimhood over here. Put it in a pot, and what do you got? A bunch of division, and no one can organize and get together except for Bernie Sanders in 2016. But luckily, his coalition wasn't strong enough for the corporate DNC, and they're just going to continue on with that trend. And Bernie Sanders is not the first time that the DNC has pushed out a progressive. I saw a list not too long ago about all the times this has been repeated. That first of all these three things happened. The DNC chose someone who sometimes didn't even get many votes over a progressive, putting them on the nomination, putting them on the ticket, and then they lose the election. And then the general public and the DNC loyalists say, "Oh, well, they learned their lesson. Next time when a progressive comes, they'll put them and give them the nomination." And then time and time again, that same pattern would happen. They would pick someone who was not favored by the will of the people, put them, give them the nomination, and they would lose. And it's happened, I think, 6 times. I'll have to reference that list where all the instances where it happened. I know 1968 was one of them. And
who was running in 1968? Do you know who was running in 1968?
Let me check real quick. 1968.
We lead with our values. We lead with our values.
Let's see who was in the primary. Okay, I think they put forward. Let's see. All right. Hubert Humphrey was the sitting vice president. He got 166,463 votes. Okay, and I think the one that everyone wanted was Eugene McCarthy, who he was a progressive, I guess, or the more progressive one. Okay, he got 2,914,933. Bob Kennedy ran too. I think he got assassinated that year. But yeah, Hubert Humphrey. Let's see who the fuck this guy was. He lost. Obviously, we don't remember President Humphrey, do we?
No.
Can you guys still see me? I'm wondering how this. Can you guys still see me or no?
I can see you.
Really? Cool. Yeah, I have another tab open. That's cool. I can do research and talk at the same. Yeah, he was the
I know. You gotta watch that. You gotta be careful. Because I'm like, I'll look at my phone and stuff. It's funny. But yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
Sorry. Okay. He was the vice president under LBJ. And yeah, he like, okay, that's fucking ridiculous. Okay, if that happened now, I'm sorry, America would fucking revolt. But back then, the media could tell the American people anything they wanted, and there wasn't even partisan media back then. It was so kumbaya for the establishment back then. But imagine that happened to, they couldn't do this today, luckily, but still, they have their own tricks to manipulate the people. Okay, if let's say a candidate like Joe Biden got 100, first of all, if they had the free range they had in 1968, Joe Biden would not have even got 166,000 votes. They would have kept everyone in. They wouldn't even have the need to have a big candidate field like they did. You know, that was planned, that running 19 whatever candidates.
They had to make sure that they split the progressive vote so many ways. That's why even Kamala Harris was pretending to be a progressive, even though nobody bought it.
That was a DNC chess game that was planned from the beginning. I didn't even see it coming. You know, these people are the best political strategists that this planet has. Of course, they can fucking do anything. But anyway, if they had the free reign that they did in 1966, and Joe Biden got 166,000 votes, and Bernie Sanders got 3 million. Wow, they could not get away with that today, luckily, because of all the information that's out there. People would revolt. I think it would be worse than the violence of George Floyd. It would be bad. But, you know, they're finding other ways to fuck over the people and go completely against the will of the people. And this just keeps happening. Okay, when the fuck will it end? It will end when we can get a progressive soup. It will end when we can work the system and get a progressive crowd-funded super PAC funded by people like you and me to rise up against the DNC. But it's hard when we're fighting against corporate interests. And like pretty much all of them banded up into one. You know, it's kind of hard to fight that especially when you have people in the working class suffering from Stockholm syndrome who you know, love the GOP and are anti-union. I don't know how the fuck you can work in a factory and be anti-union. You make $10 an hour, work through a temp agency, have a family that's fucking starving. How are you anti-union in that case? I'll tell you how. Brainwashing.
How can Democrats be called pro-unions when the Democrats literally took the health care away from the Hollywood unions in California? And that state is completely Democrat. They took away the health care in the middle of a pandemic. These people hate unions. They are corporatist neoliberals. So I want to, this is the article that I saw. It's from the Independent, Matt Mathers. It's via Yahoo News. Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders to be frozen out of Biden cabinet. Mm-hmm. So left-wing politicians Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders are reportedly set to be frozen out of the cabinet amid concerns the party could lose more seats in the upcoming elections. So once again, you cucks, we literally campaigned. Bernie Sanders campaigned for them. But they still think that we are the weak link. Us, Susan Sarandon, Jill Stein, we're the ones, and not their corporate thieving is the problem. Mm-hmm. These people are completely delusional in all cases. Then they blame us every time. Every time they blame the progressives. Isn't that crazy? Doesn't it make you want to fucking do something about that shit? I swear to God.
It makes me want to kick some ass all over the place, I'm telling you, because they say they blame the progressives for not having the Senate majority and for pretty much every problem that the neoliberal Democratic Party suffers from. And that's fucking bullshit because not one progressive lost a seat. Not one.
Not one. Okay? Not LC.
And let's see.
Not Katie Porter. Mm-hmm. Wait, what happened in Michigan with, what's her name? Oh, God, what's her name? Ayla Omar. She's still in. Is there another one?
She's still in.
Rashida Tlaib. She's still in? Rashida Tlaib?
They all easily won re-election. And, you know, people from the far right to the middle right to every fucking thing but the progressives are saying that, AOC, she just won because people in that area are crazy. Sure. I mean, could it be that her policy proposals are popular? You know, you have Fox News did a poll sometime before the election, and they asked a bunch of questions. They said, do you prefer a government-run healthcare system, a single payer for everyone? 70% said yes, and this was a Fox News poll. I swear, someone's getting fired for that poll, okay, because it revealed a lot of truths.
Someone got fired from that poll. You know, the problem is we're all broke, and literally all of these politician corporatists have extracted the wealth from all of us with taxes, with credit cards, with all kinds of stupid little plans and devices, and funneled that money to the 1%. So now we're all fucking desperate as fuck. And that's why that paved the way for Donald J. Trump. So if the Democrats aren't careful, they're going to do it again. And this time it's going to be Stephen Miller or even Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
Steve Bannon has the traction to run for president, even though he's a human eczema. So,
yeah, actually, someone made the prediction that for the next Republican primary and possibly the nomination, someone crazier than Trump is going to get in. They really think it's heading in that direction. It was a friend of mine. They think whoever
the only direction to go.
It could be Tucker Carlson. It could be Alex Jones, like someone that crazy. Like
I
it's
like
getting
Tucker
that
Carlson.
fucking insane.
He's funny.
Trump supporters are so gullible that they're
Yeah.
actually believing that Trump has any leg to stand on in these legal battles. He's losing every one. It's not going to the Supreme Court. And I can stand Trump being like that. It didn't surprise me a lot. It kind of made me sad that we got to that point. But the fucking fact that his supporters, and I love rural America. Rural America, some of my happiest times were spent in rural America. And I know they're smarter than that. But the people who have been brainwashed by Trump, probably because they had nowhere else to turn and he made them feel whole again, being that brainwashed by complete falsehoods is amazing. And I think, our next Republican nominee could very well be a Tucker Carlson or an Alex Jones.
Tucker Carlson is best case scenario.
I think, I was just going to say, I kind of like Tucker Carlson. Although he even gets to lose, right now he's playing up the whole Trump legal battle, election's not over thing.
He has to. It's Fox.
Yeah,
I can't believe that they're not all doing that. They have to. He's going to call them personally if they don't.
Yeah,
you know that, right? He will. He will literally call in if they don't do that shit.
Oh,
he's
Trump,
done it before. Yeah, with Steve Busey.
He's pretty much fighting a war with Fox News. Right?
I mean,
Trump?
Is it a war though? Is it really? Because they say it they say it all in the secret, and then sometimes they get caught on the mic saying it. But for the most part, they're still bootlickers, just like Republicans are.
Some people say Trump. Well, he's in any case, he's made a few tweets about how Fox News is, the ratings are bad, and the only difference between 2016 and 2020 for the election season was Fox News. They're moving left, and some people think he's doing this because he's shaping up to start his own media company like Trump TV, and apparently the plan was to do that if he lost in 2016, was to start a Trump media to rival Fox News, and many have gone so far as to think Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson will quit Fox to join Trump's network. So that's just
they already have OAN or whatever. What is that network? OAN.
OAN.
Even more crazy.
OAN.
That place is crazy. It's like fucking
I've never checked it out.
pastors on that shit. It's crazy.
I've never checked it out. Yeah,
dude, check it out. It's some fun.
I want to bring up something. Okay, I know you're working class, and I'm fucking poor. So I'm pretty much working class too. But okay. You know how since March we've been in quarantine and lockdown? Yeah. You know something I've realized? The media and the establishment, and let's call it the zeitgeist, is so out of touch that they really think all of America's in lockdown. Let me tell you something. Have you ever had one day off because of the lockdown? Maybe. But you work in a bar, so you might have, right?
1 day off? And a lockdown?
How much time were you out of work, actually locked down at home since they started this whole thing?
2 months.
Because you're a bartender, right?
Well, I'm a bartender at a restaurant, so they closed down the restaurants.
They had to close that. Okay, now but let me.
And then we close it again. We have Governor Abbott. Governor Abbott is a waffle.
Abbott, yeah. Well,
so he literally couldn't figure out what to do. You know the thing. Look at that.
You know the thing. I wanted to say, for the Americans that were truck drivers or even worked at McDonald's or, did anything hands-on, there was never a lockdown for the working class. What it really was the middle class, the administrative office workers, all of them, they were locked down. They were quarantined at home. And the middle class, the working class went and brought them things. So that's how out of touch the media.
What they call them? The specials? What are they called?
I'm not sure.
I forgot what they call them.
Let me tell you something.
They're all going to be in the Heroes Act. The Heroes Act. They're all going to be honored.
Let me tell you something. Joe Biden he seems to make mention when he's trying to dodge a question that calls out his hypocrisy and his reprehensibility. He likes to change the topic and talk about Americans sitting at the kitchen table.
I know.
According to Joe Biden, everyone lives and dies at the kitchen table. I had to remind some people some people don't have a kitchen table. Some people, their kitchen table's this big. Some people, Americans don't. We have bigger things to worry about than the kitchen table.
You're right.
Americans are trying to get to the point where they can pay their rent, eat some food, not have to sacrifice on their well-being, their mental health, and not live a totally low-quality life because you only get one life. Okay. A lot of people don't have a fucking kitchen table. Okay, we're in crisis mode. The working poor is in crisis mode. There's no kitchen table. There's no relaxing nights at the kitchen table. A lot of people don't have any food to eat to put on the kitchen table. Okay, and the in the mainstream, even they've got so out of touch they can't even fake it till they make it anymore. They actually think that the average American has a 401k, gets in their brand new car that they're leasing at the Toyota dealership, drives to and from work, sits in their office all day and plays a little Angry Birds while they do a little bit of their work, and then they get a paycheck every week. They don't understand the people who are living in their cars. I don't know if you go on Reddit, but there's a popular forum called van dwelling, like dwelling in your van, people who actually live in their vans full time. Many people are exploring that lifestyle of living in a vehicle just because of how out of reach it is to actually rent out an apartment. $30,000 a year to live in an apartment. People can't afford that. People don't have that money. People don't even make that.
People can't afford a lot of things, especially now. And the businesses they shut down during the lockdown will never come back. And the Democrats pretty much wrecked the economy just to get Trump out of office. So I hope they do something. Did. So I hope they do something. Literally, what if the shoe were on the other foot? Do you think the Republicans would be the ones wearing masks, and the Democrats would be the ones thinking that the Republicans are fascists? What do you think? You think I honestly think, because they do this all the time. I honestly think that if Hillary Clinton was in the White House, that everything would be fine. And because the Republicans are crazy, okay? They love the economy, okay? So even though Republicans are crazy when it comes to stuffing the religion down your throat and making sure that, you can't go to the bathroom, they will never shut a business down. Businesses are God. Business is God, business, and then probably, I don't know, something else. And then people. But they'll never shut down a business. So I don't know. Like, this is really interesting. What Joe Biden's going to do. I can only assume that it's going to be more of the same, because he said nothing will fundamentally change, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not expecting much. I love how AOC spoke out right after the election. The Civil War is on. And by the way, so we're going to go, but I want to say I am asking all progressives to unite behind our common message, which is Medicare for all, a Green New Deal, legalizing marijuana, and making sure that every single part of this government works for all of us and not just the privileged few. So that's my message to the progressives. We need to unite behind that, and we need to fight the neoliberal machine. Do you have your last word, Richard? Go ahead.
I think you said it perfectly. I think anyone who's poor, the working poor, needs to unite, and we need to organize under one collective banner. We've had to do that for a while. We need to do it now, and let's do it.
Do you hear the people singing a song of angry men? I hope so. Well, guys, this is Tommy Nation Politics. Thank you for watching.